If you listen to enough historians or history professors or read enough history books, you will most certainly come across an old adage that says, history is written by rich and powerful men. And that statement gets truer the farther back we go in history. And what that statement is essentially saying is that our view of history is skewed by men who had the resources and the education to document historical accounts. In other words, it's very difficult to make a judgment call or get a clear-cut picture of a certain event or what life was like when all our views come from above, from the aristocracy, from the social elite. When it comes to the Samaritans, they fall under this rule. Let me give you the backstory that you probably have never heard before. Who were the Samaritans? I will try to be brief so I don't bore the hell out of you and make this very concise. After King Solomon in the 10th century BC, Israel is divided into a north and a south. You've got 10 tribes go north and 2 stay in the south where Jerusalem is, and the south becomes known as Judea. Why did 10 of the tribes go north? Well, the truth of the matter is the north was a more prosperous land for agriculture. It was also more geographically advantageous for trade on the Mediterranean and Lebanon and trade from the Far East. Jerusalem is kind of out of the way. Knowing this will help you understand why the Assyrians attacked northern Israel in 722 and took all of the tribes, either killed them or took them into slavery. You might hear the term the 10 lost tribes. That's what that is referring to, the 10 tribes who were taken away in the Assyrian, conquest. But it's very important to know that the Assyrians took the wealthy, the prosperous, the merchants, the traders, the trade routes, the priests, the scribes, the leaders, those who kept track of the genealogies of the tribes, those who could write. What the Assyrians left behind was the peasants, the farmers, the shepherds. They didn't care about those people. They wanted to make money off of their work and their land. Don't go in and burn the cash register. Kill the people who are in charge of it or take them into slavery. Now we fast forward about 150 years to the year 586 BC, and the Babylonians come in to southern Israel, or we'll call it Judea, and they conquer Jerusalem and take all those people into slavery or captivity. And again, we are talking about the who's who, those who are high up on the social totem pole, the affluent, the priests, and the leaders. But the people who were left behind, those outside of Jerusalem, like the farmers, the shepherds, and the peasants, nobody cared about them. They still wanted them to work for the land. So 70 years goes by, and those leaders and social elite are let go when the Persians come in and conquer Babylonian, and the Persian king, King Cyrus the Great, allows the Jews who were in slavery or captivity to go back and rebuild Jerusalem and the temple. What's even more astounding than King Cyrus letting the slaves go back to rebuild their temple is that the Bible tells us that the Babylonians never spent any of the gold or the money that was taken from the temple. And even more astounding is that King Cyrus has all those treasures of the temple, and he gave them back to the Jews in order to go rebuild Jerusalem and the temple. And you can find that in the Bible, Ezra chapter 1 or 2, I believe. I think it's 1. But yes, so believe that if you want to. The Jews who were in exile are going back now to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple with all the money that was ever taken from them. When they get back to Jerusalem and they're going to lay the foundation of the temple, those who were in the north, the Jews, they were Jewish, they came down to offer their assistance and said, "Oh, you're rebuilding the temple. Let us help you rebuild." And those who came from exile said, "No, you cannot. You are our enemy, and go away. We don't want your help." You can read that exchange in Ezra chapter 4, and it goes on. Ezra tells you, they were sending letters to the Persian kings and telling them, don't build this temple, basically explaining to you why those northern people were enemies of the southern people. Those northern people settled in Samaria and are known now as the Samaritans because of where they settled. But they're still Jews. The southern Jews who came from exile accused them of having Assyrian blood and not the purity. They were worried about the purity, supposedly. But those northern Jews eventually are called the Samaritans. They build their own temple. It's on Mount Gerizim. And you can see Jesus talks to a Samaritan woman in John's gospel, and that Samaritan woman does refer to that mountain and that temple. She says this mountain, and Jesus refers to the other temple on the other mountain. So that's where the Samaritans come from. But I want to talk about the kicker of the whole story, and it's somewhat absurd. The kicker of this whole story and the shaft that the Samaritans got is that we, as Western civilization or Christians, have been made to believe that somehow the Assyrian captivity and slavery, when the conquest came in at 722, was completely different from the Babylonian slavery and captivity, which lasted 70 years. How many years did the Assyrian captivity last? Forever? Or we don't even know. 1 year? Well, no. But the Babylonian captivity, as it's called, was almost, we're supposed to believe that, all the families still stayed together. They ate dinner together. They kept their genealogies together. None of the priests that, as Ezra tells us, none of the priests that were serving the temple, were ever killed or anything. They still came back and got their old positions back. They got all their money back, and all the families of power went right back to the same positions. That's what we've been made to believe from this book of Ezra, and it's political garbage. It's trying to establish who's going to have the power in Jerusalem moving forward, and we've all believed it. Somehow Babylonian slavery or captivity is somewhat of a summer camp, while the Assyrians, those people are the real enemy. It's political crap is what it is. You're supposed to believe the 70 years of, quote, captivity, that no one was ever hurt in a position of power, that they burned the effing city to the ground. But, oh God, leave the people alone. We just want their buildings destroyed. Come on back, eat dinner with us, and keep your families together. None of you will be raped or killed in jail or starved to death. It's going to be, again, a summer camp. It's just political garbage. Stop listening to this 70 years of effing captivity. It's slavery. It's what it was. It was a brutal time. Go read the book of Ezra if you want. But just take full notice of how it turns the Samaritans into enemies. It says they got their letters that were sent to the Persian king and documents those letters. And remember, The book of Ezra isn't written until the year 450. Okay, so you're still about 80 years too late to have that document of the letters. It's a lie. They don't have the documents. They have to show why the Samaritans are bad people so that those people in power can stay in power and keep the lower peasantry where they are.